tonight in Tampa as the Rams and Bulls get together for the 37th time, but just the first meeting since 1997. These old conference foes from the Sun Belt and the Metro set to be reacquainted. Good evening, everyone. With Andrew Frazier, the former USF Bull, I'm JB Long. It's been a little more than a week since we've seen USF here on the home court, so why don't we get caught up on everything we missed while we were helping ourselves do some extra Thanksgiving leftovers. And over the weekend in Texas, these Bulls took BYU, a top 25 team, down to the wire, Andrew.
No such thing as moral victories or good losses, but Coach Stan Heath has to be pleased with the performance of his Bulls in this tournament. They really battled BYU down to the end of that basketball game, and if it wouldn't have been for an All-American by the last name of Fredette, the Bulls would have been able to come away with the victory in a hard-fought double overtime game.
Yeah, Fredette scored 32, assisting on the key play in double overtime to win it at the buzzer, 77-75, the final in 2 overtimes. But the Bulls do bounce back in the consolation game. They get a win against a Big 12 team, beating Texas Tech 64-61. They held the Red Raiders without a field goal for the better part of 6 minutes down the stretch. Ron Anderson Jr. had 16 points, and Jawanza Poland chipped in a dozen. Augustus Gilchrist named to that all-tournament team. He continues to lead this Bulls roster in scoring. And Andrew, you think his matchup tonight against VCU particularly important?
This night won't be any different for Augustus Gilchrist. If the Bulls are going to be successful, he needs to make sure he certifies his dominance on the offensive and the defensive end. They need him not only to score buckets, but to pull down rebounds and be a fierce competitor tonight.
As for the Rams, this will be their 4th straight game against a BCS conference opponent. They already have wins over Wake Forest and UCLA and a narrow loss to Tennessee. I hope you like three-pointers because they shoot a lot of them, and they have 4 different players averaging 15 points or more.
And this isn't your ordinary mid-major school. VCU is a school that's been a perennial power in the NCAA tournament. They broke a lot of hearts a couple years ago when they knocked off Duke, and there's still a lot of remnants of Coach Anthony Grant and Alabama's recruiting style, and some players from Florida we'll see tonight as well.
Well, this is one of those games that we circled as soon as the schedule was released. We've been looking forward to it for a while. Hope that you are too. Bulls and Rams next from Tampa when we come back. Big East Basketball is brought to you by Tampa General Hospital, trusted for our expertise, chosen for our care, and by CGM Services. Comfort never felt so good. And by Fifth Third Bank, the things we do for dreams. And so here we go with game number 8 for the USF Bulls, coming off a win over Texas Tech. They are 4-3, and the visitors tonight, the VCU Rams, also coming off a BCS conference win. They took down UCLA in Madison Square Garden. They are 4-1, and now a crucial non-conference test for both teams. Let's get you set with the starting lineups. First for the Rams, a homecoming of sorts for a couple of them, Joey Rodriguez and Ed Nixon, both Florida products, returning to play in their home state for the first time. They're joined by Bradford Burgess, Toby Veal, and Jamie Skeen up front. As for the Bulls, 8 different players have received a start so far this season. Good to see Anthony Crater, though, back in the starting lineup after missing the last 3 games with an ankle injury. Jawanza Poland, Hugh Robertson, Augustus Gilchrist, and Ron Anderson round out the starting lineup for Stan Heath. Robertson and Gilchrist, the only 2 Bulls who have started all 7 games. There is head coach Stan Heath in his 4th season with an overall record of 45-57. He says this is as big a test as we've had all year, but he feels like his team really took some nice steps forward in Texas. BYU, one of those games he woulda, coulda, shoulda won with his Bulls, and they're hoping some momentum from Texas Tech carries over. As for his counterpart on the VCU sideline, Shaka Smart, really one of the rising stars in the coaching ranks. At just 33 years of age, he's one of the youngest coaches in Division I. He's in his 2nd season with the Rams, 27 wins a season ago, and he led his team to the CBI championship. And talking with Coach Smart before the game, Andrew Frazier, he says this is going to be a style of play game. With the scores in the 50s and 60s, he understands that favors USF. If it's up-tempo and they create turnovers with their pressure, that favors the Rams.
VCU likes to give what I call a lot of cosmetic pressure. They want to force you into making mental mistakes, throwing bad passes where they can turn those bad passes, not into layups, but the 3-point shots in transition. So it's going to be important for the Bulls to keep VCU players in front of them, and when they do penetrate, don't get sucked in to help, because they will make you pay from deep.
Stan Heath countered by saying he's not so much concerned with the final score, except for the fact that he wants it to be in his team's favor. But in terms of whether it's in the 60s or 70s, That's not his primary concern so much as tempo and execution and some of those things you just touched on. Our officials tonight, Les Jones, Sean Corbin, and Tim Clardy. And we are set to get underway in Tampa. The Bulls back home to face the VCU Rams. Augustus Gilchrist wins the tap for the Bulls. And here's a look at Anthony Crater, who is coming off a career-best 7-assist performance in the win over Georgia Southern, but then injured an ankle last Monday in practice, has not appeared in the game since.
JB, as you can see, starting the game off, the Bulls want to get Augustus Gilchrist involved early.
Joey Rodriguez pulls down the miss by Gilchrist.
It'll be interesting to see how much switching takes place on the defensive end by the Bulls.
Skeen with it inside, now to Veal. Both teams missed their first shot. Ron Anderson an early board.
No surprise there.
Another post feed to Gilchrist, and he's bumped inside by Jamie Skeen.
Another thing to watch, JB, is if the Bulls are able to assert themselves in the paint with getting the ball early to Augustus Gilchrist and Ron Anderson Jr., if they're able to put this VCU ball club in foul trouble.
Hugh Robertson to inbound. Just underway here at the Sundome. Jawanza Poland, his first look a bit strong. Skeen there for the board, a Wake Forest transfer. Most of what the Rams do in the half-court set starts with that high screen. Skeen gets it out, and Nixon off the mark from three.
What a great box out that time by Hugh Robertson. Watch a little screen and roll action here by Anthony Crater and Ron Anderson Jr.
Crater, you can see, favoring that left ankle just a little bit, playing with a brace on it as he was during shoot-around and warm-ups earlier this afternoon. Important to get him to start while that ankle is good and loose and warmed up, rather than put him on the bench and let it get stiff. He'll have to go here with 6. Finds Robertson. Nothing but net on the 3, and the Bulls are on the board first.
Nothing like taking 32 seconds off the shot clock and getting a quality shot, long-range bomb by Hugh Robertson.
Bulls open in the man-to-man defense. However, we do expect quite a bit of zone from Stan Heath's club. He was saying that that will help his team keep the matchups they want on the floor, Andrew.
Well, they're going to have to make sure that they keep the guys not only on the floor but out of foul trouble.
Rodriguez rattles in and out on the 3. And we'll go over to USF on the position. If you're not familiar with Virginia Commonwealth University, they're out of Richmond, Virginia, with an enrollment of better than 32,000. 9 NCAA tournament appearances. Their last win coming in 2007. They beat Duke in that opening round, as Andrick referenced in our open. I have a feeling you might have had the Blue Devils advancing a bit farther in your bracket, Andrick, based on your memory.
I actually did not.
No, you predicted the upset.
I did. Coach Anthony Grant, when he was there, was not only a good friend, but he's one of the first coaches to recruit me out of high school, and followed him for a while, and I just thought they had the advantage, and glad I was right.
Grant now at Alabama as Gilchrist gets another touch in that block on the left side. He's been good from that spot.
Heard Stan Heath talk about, he didn't care about the score, but his team's ability to execute on offense. So far, they've executed their offense with precise precision.
Half-court execution, that slowed the Rams down. Loose ball on the floor. And a timeout, VCU.
JB, you can see on that last possession, USF is really concentrating on guarding that screen and roll or screen and pop, which VCU will run a lot this evening. They're giving a very hard hedge, and Ron Anderson Jr. having very active hands that time on Mr. Rodriguez.
Take a look at the play from Augustus Gilchrist. They're trying to establish him on that block early.
And as you can see, he likes to flavor the left block so he can turn over that right shoulder. And that time, VCU just getting caught a little bit too high on the high side. Really can't get to a front and denial because of the size of the Bulls. And Augustus Gilchrist taking advantage of those broad shoulders and soft touch.
He's been in double figures in 4 of the last 5 outings for the Bulls, including that 23-point performance against Georgia Southern. He was 8 for 8 in that game, about as efficient as you can possibly be. Became just the second player and one of just 5 players in USF history to have a perfect night from the floor. But like many of the Bulls, a bit of a roller coaster start to the season. He's had some nights where he's all but disappeared from the stat sheet. Other nights he fills it up. I think this team very much trying to get a feel for each other as teammates, and the rotation that they're all playing, those things starting to sort themselves out for Stan Heath's team.
As Heath's ball club gets closer to January, you'll get a better feel for how these pieces of the puzzle are going to come together and make beautiful art.
Don't wait long for VCU to pull the trigger on three-pointers. They attempt 28 per game as Rodriguez misses his second attempt of the game, as we're 3 minutes in and still the Bulls holding the Rams off the scoreboard.
USF again trying to get something done off of the dribble penetration, off the screen and rolls.
Anderson has it with 10, back to Crater. On the floater, and he's called for the charge.
Anthony Crater stuck in a situation where he had to get a shot off before the shot clock went down, and in a situation where you're driving the basketball, you have to make sure you come to a jump stop and elevate, especially when you're shooting a floater. Great job that time by VCU establishing position and Skeen accepting the charge.
Skeen, a former North Carolina Mr. Basketball back in 2005. That one, he was a junior in high school, winning the North Carolina Mr. Basketball Award. Not an easy thing to do.
Well, you ask yourself, how does the Mr. Basketball of the state of North Carolina get out of North Carolina with all those great schools and end up at VCU?
Well, he started at Wake Forest and, in fact, played his former team earlier this year. Went for 15-5 in that win against the Demon Deacons.
See VCU right there with a little 1-2-1-1 pressure. Again, cosmetic, forcing you to make good passes. Great press break that time by USF.
Gilchrist continues to work the block. Anderson fights for the offensive board. Finds Robertson. He's 1 for 1. Make it 2 for 2.
Hugh Robertson is a very solid three-point shooter when the ball comes inside out. You can see that time Ron Anderson Jr., one of the better passers on this USF ball club, making a pinpoint pass for the easy three.
Coach Heath talked this week about bringing Hugh's shooting numbers up. He feels like he's a better shooter than the 21% from behind the arc and 53% at the free throw line numbers he's posted so far. Skeen inside, blocked by Augustus Gilchrist. He now has a block in 4 straight games. Poland on the pull-up. Rebound down to the Rams. That's
a shot Jawanza Poland can make. If he gets it on the glass, it even make it an easier shot.
Nixon out to run. He's stripped by Ron Anderson Jr.
And USF does not want to get caught in an up-and-down run basketball game. You want to take shots in transition when they're available, but you also want to make sure you eat clock.
Ron Anderson from just inside the three-point line. He's off the mark. Get a stoppage at the next whistle. So far, USF controlling the tempo.
Both teams right here sucking a little bit of wind, JB. They're looking forward to the next media timeout.
Ed Nixon with the basketball, a local product, played at Lakewood High School. Actually lost to Joey Rodriguez in the state high school championship game as a senior. That's his teammate who puts up the teardrop, and Gilchrist rebounds.
I think one thing that's very important for USF tonight is if they make VCU's ball club make shots. You don't want to allow them to get a lot of dribble penetration, and that's a perfect example on that last possession by Rodriguez.
Anderson turns to the baseline. His shot up and in.
Ron Anderson putting him in the pressure cooker with a little shake and bake for the fall-away jumper.
Very fluid action already. 6 minutes gone. It's 10-2 USF to start this contest. Host of substitutions at the scorer's table. We'll check in during our first media timeout as Bradford Burgess knocks down his first three.
Rare mistake defensively that time for the Bulls. You have to communicate on all switches.
He's a 50% three-point shooter. Now the Bulls having some trouble on the inbound. We'll get a look at the full court pressure from the Rams. Deflection to the backcourt, saved by Poland. He'll break the timeline. Goes all the way to the rim. Jawanza Poland.
Poland.
Big right hand.
Rule number 1 in a press, you have to step up and stop the basketball. And if you don't, you end up with facials and not the ones with mud.
He just kept going up on that elevation.
Look at the communication and focus defensively for the Bulls. VCU needs to make this a good possession for them.
Rodriguez over to Burgess with 12 on the shot clock. A foul on the post as Gilchrist a bit too physical with Jamie Skeen inside. But speaking of physical, how's this rim rattler send you to break?
This is what really happens. You have to make them pay when they want to press. If you want to press, I got some press for you.
Welcome back to the Sun Dome with Andrew Frazier, JB Long, calling the action between the VCU Rams and the USF Bulls. And right now the Bulls beating the Rams at their own game. A couple of three-pointers in a transition bucket. They're on top by a 12-5 score. A good contingent from Richmond on hand to take this one in. As we take a look at the series history, this is one of those numbers that's a bit misleading. You see that VCU certainly has the edge, but it's been a while since these two teams played. In fact, this is just the second time in 37 meetings that this rivalry is being played as a non-conference game. These teams, former members of the Sun Belt and Metro Conference, and it's the Rams' first trip to Florida in 9 years. And talking with Coach Shaka Smart before the game, he says it's a game they scheduled in part for Joey Rodriguez and Ed Nixon, a couple of local products from Merritt Island, Florida, and St. Pete right here nearby, respectively. And they're not afraid to say, you know what, we want to win it for these guys as well. A good homecoming showcase for both those players.
You know, Coach Stan Heath, I was listening to him this morning on 620's radio show, and they were giving him a little hard time about the schedule so far this season. He's like, well, you know, you ever keep in mind when USF put this schedule together, there was a young man by the name of Dominique Jones who was on the ball club.
That's exactly right. Some substitutions in on the Bulls side as they switch to the 2-3 zone for the first time. We see Sean Noriega and Torlin Fitzpatrick along with Mike Burwell, who can test that shot, but on the putback, it's Burgess with the score.
That is one of the main concerns for Coach Stan Heath and his staff, is the ability to rebound out of the zone.
Good passing by the Bulls in the backcourt, and they'll draw a foul as Hugh Robertson draws one on Brandon Rizell, checking into the game for the first time for VCU. He is the team's leading scorer at 16 points per game. About as good a sixth man as you're going to find. This is their best offensive lineup when he's in the game.
If there's anything as such as a neon green light, he has it.
Started shooting him when he got off the bus this afternoon. Sean Noriega at the top, working with Mike Burwell, who subbed in for Anthony Crater while he was away nursing that ankle injury. Made his first 3 career starts. Noriega with 11. Feeds Fitzpatrick. Back out to Sean. He'll pull the trigger on a deep 3. Leaning back as Andrew Frazier leans into me.
That wasn't Fat Joe, but that was definitely a lean back jumper, baby.
Well, VCU noted as the three-point shooting team, but so far the Bulls with the better performance from behind the arc.
That is the 3rd consecutive shot that USF has been able to make with the shot clock winding down. That is so defeating to a defense.
Here's Rizell out to the far side with Troy Daniels. Rebound, Burwell fighting for it. And he'll draw a foul. So we'll take another commercial timeout here, but so far the Bulls 3 for 3 from behind the arc.
A little Sean Noriega with a little bit of long distance.
15-7 Bulls in the early going on the strength of the three-point shooting by Hugh Robertson and Sean Noriega and Andrew Frazier. It's not just that they're making threes, but where in the shot clock they're knocking these down.
I mean, they're running the shot clock down to 30, 31, 32 seconds, and with the exception of that last three-pointer by Sean Noriega, these have all been good, quality, wide-open looks.
Well, we thought that three-point shooting would be the story for Stan Heath against his VCU team. However, we thought it would be the Rams who were doing the damage from behind the line. Look at all these three-point shooters at 46% or better, and as a team, 39, not too shabby. The Bulls have actually been defending the three-point line, Andrew, a little bit better maybe than that 34% figure shows.
They really have. I mean, they struggled the first couple of games and really just giving up three-pointer after three-pointer. That was no point in the season more glaring than the UCF basketball game. But here you can see them tightening up the screws lately and really getting hands up on jump shots right now. VCU only 1 for 6 from behind the arc.
Rizell on the drive with that sweet right hand.
Brandon Rizell gets a lot of credit for his ability to shoot the basketball from behind the arc, and there you can see his ability to penetrate the basketball.
Jared Famous into the ball game to help break the VCU press. We approach the 11-minute mark.
VCU is so aggressive defensively. USF has to take opportunities to penetrate the basketball.
Noriega from the corner. Fitzpatrick an easy offensive rebound. Right back up with it.
Talk about a player who's shooting the ball incredibly well right now. Tolan Fitzpatrick doesn't take a lot of shots, not a high-volume guy, but he takes quality shots and he knocks them down.
Grabs another rebound there. He registered his second career double-double against BYU in that double overtime thriller. 10 points, 11 boards, and he did it in just 18 minutes. Very few players more efficient in the Big East than Tolan Fitzpatrick.
There was an efficiency stat in NCAA. He'd been one of the leads in that position, right behind probably Ron Anderson Jr.
And I like that idea. You know, they have the quarterback passer efficiency rating in college football.
You figured out that formula yet?
Yeah, I have it right here in my wallet index card. It's two-sided. Anthony Crater back in for Mike Burwell in the Bulls lineup. Ant, as they call him, responds to his first stint on the bench. As you know, you played through sprained ankles before. Sometimes you're good in the early going, but as soon as you hit that bench, it'll tighten up on you.
Anytime you sit down and that blood stops flowing, it will tighten up on you. So it's going to be imperative that he stays loose, even when he's out of the ball game.
Inbound pass comes to Famous. See some zone from VCU as well, but so far they've been in the man-to-man. Jared gets a touch on the block. Noriega to the paint, and he'll get 2 free throws.
One of the things Sean Noriega has worked on besides his body this summer is his ability to attack the basket. And because he's such a dangerous shooter from the outside, anytime he can give a shot fake and get a shoulder down and ahead of his defender, he's going to give himself an opportunity to make easy buckets from the free throw line.
Noriega 6 for 8 from the stripe so far this season. That foul on Darius Theus, a sophomore from Virginia, who's celebrating his 20th birthday today as Joey Rodriguez checks back in to send him to the bench. In fact, before the ball game during shoot-around, the Rams singing happy birthday to their 20-year-old teammate. Lead reaches double digits as Noriega gets the free throws. Ed Nixon to Rodriguez and out of the block. Toby Veal working on Fitzpatrick. Loose ball rebound to Crater.
I'm worried about the quickness of Anthony Crater. He showed you right there. The ankle may be bothering him, but he still has a nose for the basketball.
Poland gets his step. Famous can't grab the offensive board, but it goes over the end line off of Skeen, and the Bulls will keep it.
That was a good decision that time by Jawanza Poland. He attacked the basket, and he had Jared Famous what he thought was open on the left block, but the right decision to shoot that basketball because there was no one between Jared Famous and the rim for the offensive rebound.
.20 on the shot clock as Crater gets it back. There's Noriega. Skeen fights with Famous for the board, and Jared picks up his first foul of the ball game.
Actually was called on Tolan Fitzpatrick as he got caught with the hands around the waist. This isn't a dance, Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Augustus Gilchrist and Ron Anderson Jr. back into the ball game, along with Hugh Robertson. Not sure the Bulls could have asked for anything more than what they've done so far in this first 10 minutes and change with a 10-point advantage, and they've really set the pace, which was so important coming in. Here's a backdoor lob. Ed Nixon looking for help, taken away by Robertson. And now the Bulls run. Anthony Crater in transition, but gets his own rebound. Tips it to Robertson.
Gutsy play that time by Anthony Crater because there was no one back on defense for USF. He had to come up with the basketball, and the junior was able to do it.
Credit Crater with the assist off of that deflected rebound. Despite his lost time, he still leads the team in that category as Skeen goes to work. And there's another rebound for Poland. Bulls controlling the boards 13-7 so far. They've yet to be out-rebounded this season. Whistle inside, and they'll get Skeen with his second.
Anthony Crater, first person who knows their shot is off is the person who shoots the basketball. Here you see Anthony Crater knowing that shot's a tad bit long, gets his nose in for the deflection to a wide open Hugh Robertson for the easy dunk.
And I gave him the assist on that one. I think he knew he was deflecting that.
I surely hope that the statistician saw it the same way that you did.
Gilchrist helps on the inbound and gets it right back to Crater. Crater's playing 31 minutes per game before his injury to lead the club. Poland on the curl. Nice find inside. Ron Anderson on the right-hand reverse.
Oh, good basketball action. That's what you get. Jawanza Poland being chased off the screen, forced to curl. Ron Anderson Jr.'s man stepped up to help for the easy backdoor layup. Ron Anderson for two.
Rodriguez off the screen to Nixon. In and out.
USF very fortunate that time. You have to be careful on the help penetration. That's what Stan Heath right now is telling his ball club.
Anderson puts it on the deck, loses control, but able to get it out to Gilchrist. He'll let fly for three. The Bulls on fire from downtown. 4 of their first 7 from distance, and they have a 26-9 lead.
Augustus Gilchrist hasn't been shooting the ball particularly well from behind the arc this year, but he is known for his long-range bombing opportunity, and he shows you right there why he's a special 6'11" big man.
Just the 3rd three-pointer of the season for Gilchrist, but first, the dime.
Ron Anderson Jr. being the recipient of an assist instead of dishing one out, and here again, getting an assist on the other end with Mr. Augustus Gilchrist knocking one down from about 2 paces behind the three-point arc.
Boy, when that part of his game becomes even more consistent, you look at that 6'10" frame, you add about 10 more pounds, nail down the three-point shooting and get it done at the free throw line, all of a sudden you're looking at the next coming of Dirk Nowitzki.
Well, once Augustus Gilchrist starts knocking that shot down consistently again this year, and he's running the trail spot, you look at the opponents they're going to play in the Big East, and you're pulling players away 19, 20, 21 feet away from the basket. When you have Ron Anderson Jr. running the floor and posting up as hard as he does, that's going to create a lot of open shots for not only those 2 gentlemen, but Jawanza Poland, Hugh Robertson, and Anthony Crater as well.
Now, certainly no lead safe against this VCU club. They can strike in a hurry. What's the adjustment the Rams need to make?
Well, in all honesty, they've gotten shots, they just have not knocked them down, and they have to get stops on the other end. So far, they haven't been able to prevent USF from doing anything that they want to do offensively.
Bulls not only controlling the glass, but they're drawing fouls on the board as well. They have the lead, 14-7 in that category and 26-9 on the scoreboard. The Bulls have shut out VCU for 4 minutes. The Rams still yet to reach double figures in this game, in South Florida out in front 26-9 as we're back underway with Andrick Frazier. And one thing you notice right from the start is the Bulls paid attention to their scouting report today.
It is so important as a staff to get your team prepared to play, and I think Stan Heath's staff has really paid close attention to this VCU ball club. They knew they had to pinpoint on Joey Rodriguez, Bradford Burgess, and Brandon Roselle, and right now combined, those guys are 3 for 8 from behind shooting. 3 for 8 from shooting. And Joey Rodriguez held without a single assist so far in almost 13 minutes of play.
The Bulls will be in the bonus the rest of the way. Already 16 fouls on the Rams, and they only have 4 field goals. And as you know, the pressure is predicated as Rodriguez gets a steal. 3-on-1 the opposite way, and Ron Anderson Jr. is down right at midcourt.
And I sure hope he just bumped a knee. I hope he didn't come down on that knee funny.
Bulls foul number 10, Anthony Crater, his 2nd team skip.
Yeah, you can tell right there he bumped knees with Mr. Rodriguez on that play. Joey Rodriguez, it wasn't anything intentional.
Just a relief to see that left foot up in the air so as not to have any ligaments twisted or damaged.
That is extremely painful anytime you get a knee-on-knee type contusion.
That's, of course, not to say that Mr. Ron Anderson Jr. feels any better about it at the moment, but it looks like he will be able to walk off. Anderson has been such a key part of the Bulls' early success. 2nd on the team with 15 assists, and he ranks in the top 26 in the country in field goal percentage and 2nd in the Big East in that category. Bulls do have other viable options in the front court if need be, but here's hoping Ron Anderson Jr. can continue at some point during this ball game.
That's surely something that Stan Heath and everyone else out in Bulls land does not want to see happen.
In the meantime, Ed Nixon was fouled, attempting to score in transition. He misses the first free throw. Nixon actually recruited out of Lakewood High School by USF before choosing VCU. And he makes the second, so the Rams reach double digits, 26-10 our score, and that made free throw allows them to get back into full court pressure. Fitzpatrick has a second to get it across, and he just beats the clock. Robertson, skip pass, deflected, but Poland comes away with it, and he knocks down the jumper.
Not the prettiest of press breaks, but they can sure take those 2 points.
Rob Vandenberg, the freshman, kicks it out to Rodriguez. Brandenburg coming off a career-high 9 points in the win over UCLA at Madison Square Garden. Here's Nixon, front iron.
VCU again, JB getting quality looks on the offensive end. Shots just seem to be coming up short, and this is a ball club. As well as they shoot the basketball, similar to BYU contest, they're not going to continue to miss shots this entire basketball game. So USF needs to extend this lead as much as possible, as long as the poor shooting from VCU continues.
Just to back up your point, 22% from the floor for VCU so far, and just 1 of 7 in their specialty, the three-point category. And here's a 1-and-1 for Mike Burwell. Rebound to Brandenburg. Working on Poland. He goes right down the lane and off glass.
Jawanza Poland is a much better defender than that. That penetration is way too easy.
You see the Bulls lose a little bit without Crater in the lineup. And Stan Heath will have to use a timeout. As again, that shot clock approaching 25 seconds and that 10-second violation.
Well, again, we talked about the pressure for the VCU Rams. In all honesty, USF has been trying to use a zone press break against man-to-man pressure, which is what VCU is doing right now, full court, getting in gaps and attempting to run and jump. A guard needs to get the basketball in his hands and clear everyone else out, be aware of the run and jump coming, and getting the USF player to rotate to the middle of the floor.
Shaka Smart now 18-2 in non-conference games. And it's not like VCU plays a soft schedule either. We referenced they already have wins over Wake Forest out of the ACC and UCLA out of the Pac-10. Now neither of those programs are quite at the stage that they have been in their storied past, but still, you hang with Tennessee and beat UCLA in the Garden, and you can pretty much go toe-to-toe with anyone across the country.
Well, those wins are surely not going to hurt them when it comes time for those RPI rankings to become so important, towards the season, the end of the season, if you're not winning your conference tournament and looking for seeds in the NCAA tournament. Anytime you can beat a team from the power conference, such as USF actually going against a Big 12 team and getting a win against Texas Tech, that can only help you out.
Yeah, we talked about how difficult the schedule has been for the Bulls so far. Likewise for the Rams, as we saw there at the end of the Bulls bench, Ron Anderson Jr. continuing to receive treatment in hopes that he can return. Levante Dory, the freshman point guard, finds Poland. Famous bails him out on the offensive glass. Another possession for USF. Doherty playing 7 minutes a game, giving the Bulls some minutes at point guard.
USF needs to put the ball on the floor with a little bit of initiative, knowing where they want to dribble the basketball. Right now, they just put it on the floor to put it on the floor.
Famous can't convert the assist from Poland. So here comes Joey Rodriguez. Lost his feet, and it's tipped away by Hugh Robertson, but VCU recovers. Shot clock will not reset. They have 22 to work with. Nixon, stolen away by Gilchrist. And he traveled. The one statistic that jumps out me here, Andrew Frazier, is the assist column for VCU. Just one. And they're one of the best assist teams in the country. In fact, Joey Rodriguez, their point guard, is currently 5th in the nation with nearly 8 assists per game, but he's been blanked in that category so far.
These are skilled basketball players. These aren't basketball players for this VCU ball club that are generating shots by themselves. I mean, honestly, with the exception of probably Rosille, everyone else needs to get something generated for them, and that's why you see such high assist marks for VCU through the season.
19 per game, in fact. That's good for 6th in the NCAA. Bulls back in their 2-3 zone, but it's an aggressive one with Doherty and Noriega up front. Brandenburg over to Rodriguez. Threw it away.
Joey Rodriguez, they're trying to get athletic director Doug Willard into the basketball game. I think Doug missed that pass as well. I think he needs to drop and give us 10 push-ups.
No, see, he's just sitting at the VCU scoring end. He didn't want to shoot it into their basket. He didn't want to break the scoring drought.
Still have to catch that pass. You can't turn it over, Doug.
4.5 to go as Gilchrist finds Noriega. Stan Heath saying his team has actually done a decent job breaking full court pressure this season, but then once they do, it's getting to the right spots to run that half-court offense.
There are 2 types of presses. I mean, there are pressures that force you to turn the ball over and presses that really want you to take time off the shot clock.
Noriega misses the 3 from the corner. And here comes Roselle. Doherty, the freshman, guarding the senior point guard, Joey Rodriguez. He works off the screen and finds Brandenburg. Nothing falling for the Rams in the first half. Rodriguez lets it fly. And the Rams needed that.
2 mental mistakes in a row for the Bulls. The first one was the help penetration on Rodriguez. Fortunate enough for the missed 3-pointer on that, but you never leave a ball handler to go and try to locate your man. You have to stay with the basketball. That's the most important thing on the floor.
First field goal of the game for Joey Rodriguez. The Bulls have run a bit dry in the scoring column all of a sudden. Poland tries to get him back on track. They'll at least get him another possession. Threw it away. Brandenburg working 2-on-1. He'll take it himself.
You have to ask yourself, why do you pass a basketball 45 feet across the court with only 5 seconds off of the shot clock? Here, Jawanza Poland again making a cardinal sin. You never leave someone with the basketball, and Rodriguez making them pay.
Got that off the offensive rebound at the Rams' end, and then this off the turnover in transition.
You know, just an easy steal for Rob Brandenburg.
Rams putting on a bit of a run here before the half, and with 3 minutes to go, they can cut this back to single digits. I think they'd feel pretty good about where they stand in the halftime locker room.
On an 8-2 run, and anytime you go into a half, I mean, mentally, it's much easier to digest being down less than 10, you know, not being in double digits than it is being, you know, having a lead that you have to surmount over 10 points. So that's VCU's plan right now. They want to get this lead underneath 10. Right now, if I'm Stan Heath, I'm telling my ball club, look, we've been in control of this basketball game. Continue to stay within yourself. Continue not to make mental mistakes. And when we have an opportunity to attack off of pressure, let's do it.
Speaking of pressure, we're looking for the point guard, Anthony Crater, on the Bulls bench, and you can see he's continuing to loosen up that left ankle. He's missed the last 3 games with that injury, and Shedrick Haynes in at point guard in the Bulls lineup as Stan Heath continues to try to do without. You wonder if he may have aggravated it or if it's just tightening up on him a little bit, but we haven't seen Crater been able to go in a while.
We also have Ron Anderson Jr., who's checked back in the game. Good sign for the Bulls.
He went down with that knee-on-knee collision. Noriega on the step back misses. But right there for the offensive rebound, Anderson. Fitzpatrick inside. Another board for Anderson. Up strong, big fella. One more time on the tie-up. It'll be VCU basketball when we come back. Despite the strong effort on the offensive glass for Ron Anderson, he has 5 boards. Inside the Sundome, USF leads VCU 28-17 with Andrick Frazier, J.B. Long. And Andrick, as our loved ones so often remind us, the list of things we don't know, so much longer than the list of things we do, but I'm just going to ask you for 2 things in each direction, having observed the Bulls now through 7 games.
Well, this is a Bull ball club that's predicated on getting to the free throw line. They really love the charity stripe. You know, so far in this contest, they've only attempted 3 free throws on the season. They're averaging 24 a game. Chairman of the boards, this is a team that is ferocious on the offensive and defensive glass. 20 rebounds there. We're doing our job so far this evening. The Bulls cannot go a foul. We don't need Bulls in foul trouble. Anthony Crater's on the bench right now because he has 2. And who's going to grab the Bull by the horns? Who's going to step up and be the leader of this ball club? At times it's been Ron Anderson Jr. At other times it's been Jawanza Poland and Hugh Robertson. Who will it be this evening to make sure the Bulls can secure a victory?
I think this 2.5-minute stretch here before the half will be crucial for both teams, hoping to secure that victory, as USF jumped in front early 26-9, but since VCU has cut into that deficit, and I think really looking for single digits going to the halftime locker room. Brandon Bird over to Rozelle, guarded by Robertson. 15 on the shot clock as they get it back to Rodriguez. His assist to turnover ratio 2.7 to 1. That's exactly what you want from your point guard. With 5 on the shot clock, Burgess out to Rozelle.
It is so difficult for you to go against your defensive principles where you're really taught to punch a gap whenever someone attacks on the dribble, but you cannot leave shooters, especially when the shot clock's running down.
Rozelle again. Can't convert off the 5th turnover by the Bulls. That lead cut to 8. They have it with 90 seconds to play in the half. Torlin Fitzpatrick goes to work, rejected by Skeen. Now the Rams push the tempo. Rozelle. Ron Anderson finally controls.
Ron Anderson Jr. has just such a knack for the basketball, and his will to make sure he comes up with every loose ball and every rebound is what makes him such a special player.
Make it 5 turnovers for USF now as VCU and that pressure defense starting to find results.
JB, the Bulls had only committed 1 turnover at the 7:30 mark. 4 turnovers in the last 7 minutes of this ball game.
Rodriguez gets caught up in the air and throws it away. So the Bulls get a good defensive possession and the ball back with about 4 seconds separating the shot clock and the game clock.
One thing that kind of jumps out, JB, we talked about how passive the Bulls have been as far as attacking this pressure. The Bulls have been in the building since about the 7:45 mark, and they have yet to attempt an additional free throw.
That's a good point. Just 17 fouls on VCU after it looked like the Bulls would be going to the free throw line quite a bit in 1-on-1 in bonus situations. Expect them to take roughly the last shot of the first half here, run the shot clock all the way down?
I sure hope so, and not a turnover.
Anderson helps Shedrick Haynes get it across the timeline. Here's Noriega. Back to Haynes between the circles. Noriega with 10. There's Gilchrist. Passed on the jumper. Put it on the deck. And he's rewarded off the glass.
It's not pretty, but it sure is money.
Final seconds for VCU. Theus to the perimeter. Shot up at the horn is no good for Bradford Burgess. So the Bulls do break the drought just before the break. And they will go to the halftime locker room up 10. But was once a 17-point lead has been whittled away.
You have to give VCU credit for clawing back into this ball game and making it a contest. USF's going to come out and be assertive if they want to pull out this game.
The Bulls jumped out 26-9 on VCU. Their lead trimmed to just 10, though, at the half, and we're set to get underway in the second 20 minutes. The VCU Rams, Andrew Frazier, certainly are going to bring the pressure at an even increased level here to start the second half.
It's a veteran ball club. I mean, this VCU ball club is by no means young, and they're not going to give up in this contest. So expect them to come out with a lot more pressure and also with a little more keen shooting from the outside.
So despite being one of the least experienced teams in Division I and having the 4th fewest career minutes played among Big East teams, we'll see if the Bulls can play beyond their minutes and beyond their years here in the second half, and I think a good sign to see Anthony Crater, who was saddled with a bit of foul trouble in addition to nursing that left ankle sprain, return to the lineup to start this second half. Crater with the basketball, left wing. Runs the Bulls offense from that point guard position. Here's Poland. Anderson. Back out to Jawanza. He weaves his way through the defense. Misses front iron. Veal with the first rebound of the second half.
VCU right there, I think, getting away with a tad bit of a foul.
Nixon all the way, and he's not done. Ed Nixon, a chance at a three-point play.
I'm not sure what else Jawanza Poland could have done on that penetration. He comes to a stop. He's squared up.
Basket is good. Ed Nixon, the line shooting 1.
First team foul for the Bulls of the second half, and the first tag to Jawanza Poland. Nixon misses the free throw. He's now 4 of 6 from the stripe on this season. Still the first field goal to the Rams. Here's Augustus Gilchrist. Left open for 3. He hit one in the first half, and there's another to start the second.
Trying to figure out what was he thinking about on that shot attempt. They left him open. You have to let that fly.
Robertson rebounds the missed 3 by Bradford Burgess. Gilchrist out from the block. Puts it on the deck. Misses badly, and the rebound to VCU. Rodriguez will run. Tried to put it on the bounce, but Crater knocked it away and knocked it out of bounds. He goes hard into that VCU bench, and Shaka Smart, among others, there to pick him up. Recklessly playing with that sprained ankle.
Anthony Crater just getting a nice hand on that pass and trying to slide over and sliding right into the chair. Tough young man from Michigan. He'll shake that off.
Ohio State transfer, playing his first full season with the Bulls after joining the team in December a year ago. Saw some 2-3 zone from the Bulls in the first half. They opened in the man. Rodriguez with 20 on the shot clock, dribbles to his left. The runner, a bit too strong. Poland had his hand on the rebound, and the Bulls will get it over the end line.
I hate to keep saying the same things over and over again, but Rodriguez is much better distributing the basketball when he attacks the basket. He does not want to go in and make layups over 6'10", 6'11", outstretched hands. So great possession defensively for the Bulls.
Nearly stolen away with the pressure. Ill-advised pass from Crater, but he gets away with it and gets the ball back. We're 2 minutes into the second half, and as you look up at the scoreboard, only 22 points in the VCU column. This is a team that averages 84 per game on the season.
USF is a 60s ball club. They want to keep it in the 60s, and they're right on mark to do that.
Gilchrist working hard in the post, and he draws a foul on Toby Veal. That'll be the first on the junior out of Savannah, and the first team foul of the half for VCU. The Bulls did reach the bonus in the first 20 minutes of play, but were unable to capitalize with trips to the free throw line.
USF started off this season not really shooting well from behind the arc and also from the free throw line, but it is imperative they get there in games like this because they can make shots from the charity stripe.
Anderson can't convert inside. Rodriguez with the transition look for VCU. There's the big man Skeen, who's been quiet. Backs down Anderson, and a beautiful teardrop.
That is a tough shot by Skeen.
Gilchrist with those long arms helps break the pressure. The alley-oop to Robertson, well off the mark. He does well to bring it in. Crater. Rebound to VCU. Ed Nixon starts the break. Gets it back. Anderson working hard defensively on Skeen. Rodriguez with an open three. Here's Crater. A running rebound with Poland to his left. Throws it down in transition.
USF has opportunities in transition because VCU is not a very good rebounding ball club. And when your point guard is taking shots 25 feet away from the basket in the corner, no one has the ability to get back. Great job by Anthony Crater recognizing that and getting the easy two for Jawanza Poland.
Skeen inside.
Healthy dose of Skeen right now.
He was so strong against UCLA, a career-high 23 points to go along with 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks. He really filled it up against the Bruins. Robertson finds Poland. A good decision there to back it out, and this was where the Bulls were so good early in the first half, knowing when to run, as we just saw Crater go, knowing when to pull it out and run the half-court offense. Crater has it taken away, though. Skeen doing it all for VCU. He's wrapped up by Augustus Gilchrist. We'll take our first break. 6 points for VCU, just 4 for USF in the second half, but 2 emphatic ones there from Jawanza Poland. Stan Heath and the Bulls defending an 8-point lead. Just underway here in the second half and defending the three-point line as well. We thought the story would be from distance as the VCU Rams put up 28 per game. And as we take a look at some of the three-point statistics to this point, Andrew Frazier, you can clearly point out that VCU being held well below their season average.
No, and they continue to let it fly. 3 for 13, and they're not going to stop shooting them. Right now, they just haven't been able to knock them down. USF's been able to benefit off of that because when you take bad three-point shots, you either have long misses who can easily translate into transition points going the opposite direction.
And Shaka Smart's going to put Brandon Rozelle into the ball game for the first time in this second half. You got to look at him coming out of the timeout there, and he is not shy. He alone puts up 7 three-point attempts per game, and he's hitting at a 46% rate. So keep an eye on Rozelle. He may try and shoot the Rams back into this one.
In customary fashion, USF starts out in the 2-3 zone underneath out of bounds.
He also brings Shedrick Haynes into the ball game, but there's Nixon, a wide open look, and they just can't take the lid off tonight. Haynes runs the point as Crater gets a rest. Hugh Robertson got the Bulls going with a couple of early threes. He's been relatively quiet since. Poland with the basketball, a couple emphatic dunks. Gilchrist, nice post-to-post find, and Famous gets his first field goal.
Jared Famous has an opportunity to get his name in the scoring column. Great post feed that time by Augustus Gilchrist.
Now Theus right down the lane. Famous got a piece, and Famous comes away with the basketball.
It's amazing how things can just get you going.
Now Haynes to Robertson. Famous goes right back to work on that block. This time Gilchrist looks Poland's way. Shedrick between the circles with 12. He's going to take the on-ball screen from Gilchrist. Doubled, finds his big fella. There's Famous again. Caught iron on the pass, so Haynes puts it up from 3. And a loose ball foul on the rebound. Gilchrist going to the glass.
I wonder if Famous actually meant to pass this ball off the glass up top to Shedrick Haynes, and it's coming up short, but Augustus Gilchrist attacking the glass.
Get a good look at our camera on the baseline there. Scott Lesby doing work on the baseline. 14 minutes to play here in the second half. The lead was 10 at the half. It's 10 after 6 minutes of play. And Robertson make it 12.
The first possession, USF is really tied to attack a gap, and as aggressive as VCU is being on the perimeter, you have to put the ball on the floor, attacking the gap, forcing the issue.
Darius Theus on the dribble. He's a sophomore and hands off to the senior Rozelle. Still that 2-3 extending on the perimeter for the Bulls. Seems to be disrupting that Rams offense. Burris to Theus inside. Gilchrist got a piece. 5 on the shot clock. Here's Nixon with 3 from the elbow. The putback no good. Over the end line, and it'll stay with the Rams. I thought Burgess touched it last.
I did too. Thought the officials may come together and talk about that one, but again, that's why we sit over here and we're not wearing stripes.
Let you make the call at home. We do know the Bulls are dominating the boards overall, 30-19, but on that possession there, unable to get the job done. So VCU gets another chance with Rozelle. Steps back for 3. Another offensive rebound.
Rare mental mistake that time by Ron Anderson Jr. Missed the block out.
Theus on the drive. Kicks to Burris. Bradford Burgess. Bottoms.
That never should happen against a 2-3 zone.
Now some confusion on the USF inbound. Poland into the backcourt to help clear it. Now Haynes has 5 seconds to get it across, but it's stolen away. Burris up to Nixon. All alone for the flush.
Haynes with a cardinal sin. You never dribble the basketball up the sideline.
A 5-0 spurt from the Rams. They've cut the lead to 7. Ron Anderson with a good fake. Now the Bulls have numbers. Up top, Poland to Robertson.
And that's how you attack the cosmetic pressure. You have to make them pay.
Timeout, Shaka Smart. And we'll take it with them, but the action's starting to pick up on both ends of the floor.
We're here, Jawanza Poland just finding Hugh Robertson an easy 3-on-2 conversion, and that's how you make a team pay when they don't get back on defense.
The VCU Rams doing just enough with their full court pressure and in transition to hang with USF in this second half. A 9-point margin, but as we take a look at Ed Nixon throwing it down, this is a bit of a homecoming for the St. Pete product out of Lakewood High School. And Andrew Frazier, you actually had a chance to see Nixon play during his prep days.
Ed Nixon just comes from a long line of great basketball players that have graduated from Lakewood, and you see that the damage he was able to do while he was at Lakewood. Pinellas County Player of the Year, but I mean, he's been a very productive player here for VCU as well.
Shaka Smart saying during shoot around that, hey Ed, we believe in you. We scheduled this game for you. In fact, he wanted him to enjoy it, and I think that highlight will certainly be one that he'll remember in front of numerous friends and family members on hand here in the area tonight. More importantly, it cut the lead back to single digits for VCU, and going to the free throw line will be Jamie Skeen. But first we'll take another break. Once again, the lead 9, USF trying to notch a crucial non-conference victory over the Rams. Back at the Sundome with USF on top by 9, thanks to Augustus Gilchrist and Hugh Robertson and several other Bulls having a strong night. In fact, Augustus Gilchrist was named to the South Padre Invitational All-Tournament team and was just a rebound shy of his second career double-double in the win over Texas Tech. And Andrew Keys come out with another strong performance this evening.
Augustus has made some very timely shots for the Bulls. Started off the game with an easy post play, and he's knocked down some jumpers from long range as well, keeping the VCU defenders honest.
Impressive shooting performance, very efficient by Gilchrist, 4 of 7, including that three-pointer. The second half play you saw there. Initially thought it was a 3, ruled a long 2. And as we're back underway, Gilchrist will start on the bench, and Skeen will resume at the free throw line, where he is a 78% free throw shooter, and by far the team leader in both free throws made with 28 and attempts, his 37th there of the season.
Well, VCU's not knocking down shots from the outside. You can tell what their formula is for success, and that's getting the ball in the post to Skeen.
He gets them both, and we've got ourselves a game. Just 7 points. Robertson on the inbound pass is trapped. Does well to find Anderson. Here's Crater. 3 seconds to get it across. Robertson will settle.
When that ball goes to the middle of the floor of a press break, you have to catch and look opposite. Sean Noriega was wide open on the opposite side of the floor, which would have led to an easy 3-on-1 break.
Noriega and Crater back in along with Jared Famous. Crater with 5. To Famous with 2. Has to force it. Does draw iron, but VCU grabs the board, and Ron Anderson tagged with the personal.
Anthony Crater has to have a little better recognition on the shot clock. With the shot clock winding down, I think the last thing you want to do is pass the ball to Jared Famous for a 19-foot jump shot.
Jawanza Poland quickly up off Stan Heath's bench along with Augustus Gilchrist. Robertson sits, as does Famous.
There's no doubt this play right here is going to be drawn up for Skeen.
Brandon Rizal to Rob Brandenburg. Clean look for Burse. Knocks it down. And all of a sudden the lead is just 4.
When you make three-point shots like this VCU ball club does, you can get rid of leads in a hurry.
10-2 run for the Rams. Anderson to Poland. Gilchrist, skip pass, Noriega, in and out.
Ball almost made it halfway down the cylinder before it popped out.
Burgess wants another one. Got it!
Just that quickly the lead erased.
Now a 13-2 run and a 1-point ball game. Poland and the Bulls need a good possession. Open look for Gilchrist. Timely shooting, as you pointed out during that montage we saw just moments ago. Gilchrist now in double figures with 11. Brandenburg guarded by Noriega with 12. The on-ball screen to create. He'll throw it off the glass. Loose ball rebound. Rizal has it, and Poland picks up the foul.
That's a rebound the Bulls have to come up with. Ron Anderson with great rotation to stop the penetration to the basket. Bulls have to find a way to come up with that loose ball.
VCU plays a style that they describe as wreaking havoc. And so far the Bulls have been able to avoid chaos. But you can see the pressure starting to build, and VCU ratcheted up a notch. Poland with a steal off the inbound. Working one-on-one against Rodriguez. Can't finish. Gilchrist, the follow and the foul.
Jawanza Poland upset with himself, but I think he made the correct decision, avoiding the charge and getting the ball off the glass for soft rebound opportunity. You have studs on the floor such as Ron Anderson Jr. and Augustus Gilchrist. They will get to the glass if you can't make it happen. And here Jawanza Poland forcing the issue against a smaller Rodriguez. And Augustus Gilchrist coming in to clean up the mess.
Credit both big men for running the floors. Gilchrist knocks down the first free throw. Just 50% at the free throw line coming in. That's a category where we know he will improve over the course of the season.
He's a much better shooter than 50%.
One out of 2, so the lead is 4. Bradford Burgess to Skeen on the block. Poked away by Anderson. And the officials give it to the Bulls. Nice defensive play by Anderson Jr.
Anderson so active with those hands. Risky play, but worked to his favor.
Does give VCU a chance to set up their press. Crater from Anderson, and now the Bulls have a chance to run. Poland attacks the baseline, pulls it back out. So those are the kind of looks the Bulls want in transition out of that press break. Prater with 12. Still on the bounce, finds Robertson. He had the hot hand early, has cooled off since, but USF should get it back as Burgess was the last to touch.
Seeing the Bulls all over the offensive glass. Augustus Gilchrist giving a little nudge, the small of the back there to create that offensive rebound opportunity.
And Nixon back in for VCU. A little under 8.5 to play. Fresh shot clock for the Bulls to work with as Prater drives. Hugh does well to keep his dribble as he was tripped up. From the elbow. Another offensive rebound for Anderson. Back up and in.
Anderson Jr. wrapping that ball up and not going to be denied on the putback.
5 unanswered now for the Bulls. Back on top by 6. Rizal and Burgess can both shoot it. Bulls have a hand in their face. And a block by Anderson Jr. Numbers for the Bulls if they want it. Prater goes right by Rodriguez. Robertson thinks better of it.
Very important offensive possession here for the Bulls.
We'll get a stoppage next whistle as Prater on the bounce to Poland. With 12 he spins, forces up the elbow jumper. The rebound comes down to Burgess and the foul on Hugh Robertson. That's the 6 on the Bulls, so the Rams will be in the bonus the rest of the way. 45-39, USF by 6. Set for a great finish in Tampa, USF 45, VCU 39, and Bradford Burgess shooting his Rams back into this one. Burgess has started all 75 games of his collegiate career. He's a 50% three-point shooter, and we're getting a first-hand look.
Well, Bradford Burgess was the person who knew that the Bulls were going to have to key on today, and he's been lights out from behind the arc, 4 for 5 from long range. Leading this VCU ball club for 3 for 6 from behind the arc this half.
14 points, 11 boards for Burgess, who corralled the last loose ball off the glass, then drew the foul. Take a look at handling the havoc, our storyline of the ball game. VCU applying the pressure to USF, but really the Bulls, I think, have done a better job than we've seen them so far this season. You see the -6 turnover margin per game so far. A much better job tonight, I think.
They're taking care of the basketball to some extent, but again, you'd like to see them make VCU pay for the mistakes they're making in the press. The press really isn't designed to get hard traps and to take the ball out of your hands. It's designed to make you speed yourself up and make poor decisions with the basketball.
Just 8 turnovers on the game for the Bulls. They'll be on defense here. Veal inside, working on Ron Anderson. And that'll be the 3rd on Anderson Jr.
Love to see this replay because I'm not sure I can see that from here, so I'll make sure I pay attention to this monitor. Anderson gives a little chest as Veal turns and faces.
Clean block from here. Anderson the only Bull in foul trouble as Veal misses the first. He has 3 personals and has fouled out twice on the season, including shortly into overtime against BYU. He'll buy himself a couple minutes on Stan Heath's bench as Jared Famous checks back in. Expect Anderson Jr. to return for the stretch run, most certainly. Veal missed them both, the second one badly. There's another rebound for Augustus Gilchrist. Prater breaks the pressure easily. Another costly effect of missing that second free throw as the Rams unable to set up their full court pressure. Gilchrist has been clutch, has the baskets when the Bulls need him. Famous the offensive rebound. He goes up strong but has it knocked away. Wanted a whistle, didn't get it. In transition, Nixon over to Skeen, and the big fella puts it down.
Offensive rebound on the other end for USF, and unable to convert, and leads to a 3-point shot for VCU on the other end.
Good pass ahead to Jawanza Poland. He'll put it up top. And Jared Famous throws it down.
That cross-court pass has been open all day. Hugh Robertson finally recognizing it. Jawanza Poland with the excellent feed.
Poland usually on the receiving end of those alley-oops, but a nice assist that time to his big man. Beal hands off to Rodriguez. Skeen in the post. A clean look for Nixon off the mark. And Robertson rebounds.
They have to push here, make them pay. They have numbers.
5.5 to go. A 5-point lead for the Bulls. Hugh Robertson goes baseline. Gets a step up and under. Famous. That has to be a foul. Off the backboard on the save as Rodriguez tried to throw it in, so the Bulls will keep it. Tell me Famous didn't get raked here.
Well, I tell you what, if I'm Jared Famous, the next time I come up with a basketball, I'm grabbing it and I'm trying to tear the rim off the hinges. He got slapped across the forehead.
On the plus side, a fresh shot clock for the USF Bulls. 5:16 to go. Torlin Fitzpatrick up off Stan Heath's bench. He'll give Famous a breather. Five minutes to play in Tampa, and the lead is 5 for USF. Prater to Gilchrist. 6'10", puts it on the deck. Now Poland with 13, has it poked away. The Bulls will keep it, but nice hands defensively by Ed Nixon.
Justice Gilchrist realized he should have taken the first shot opportunity he had.
Fitzpatrick to inbound with a dozen on the shot clock. Poland has it with 10. Prater to Robertson. Rebound VCU. Bradford Burgess grabs another. There's Darius Theus, the sophomore point guard, running the show for the Rams. Burgess gets his own, and Gilchrist on the foul.
A great defense for 25 seconds on the shot clock, and one mental lapse allows an offensive rebound.
Burgess is 47% on the season at the free throw strike. Explain to me how he shoots it better from three-point land than from 15 feet. Proves me wrong there. Ron Anderson Jr. back in along with Shedrick Haynes. One out of two for Burgess, and the lead is 4 for the Bulls. Haynes, the JUCO transfer. They need good minutes out of him down the stretch. Anderson Jr. backs down Skeen. Robertson forces it up, tips it away, and the Rams have it.
Good idea on that penetration by Hugh Robertson, but you just have to have body control, come to control jump stop and elevate and shoot a nice jump.
So an important possession here for Shaka Smart and his Rams. Trailing by 4 inside of 4 minutes to go. Nixon off the screen. Rozelle nearly moved his feet. It's blocked by Anderson. And he corrals it midcourt. A transfer from Kansas State is seemingly everywhere on the court at both ends. Working for post position now. He creates an opportunity for Poland. The putback no good. Anderson won't let it go. Another offensive rebound and a foul. Well, Anderson Jr. is a beast, and he is helping the Bulls protect this slim 4-point lead. One final TV timeout. We got a great finish coming up. Setting up for a fantastic final 3 minutes and 26 seconds here at the Sun Dome in Tampa. USF on top by 4. And the officials are swallowing their whistles a little bit, letting the Bulls play.
Right now the Bulls have committed 8 fouls. VCU has only committed 4 so far in the second half, and that's going to be something we need to watch on both ends. 2 more fouls. VCU will be going to the charity stripe for 2 shots, and if they happen to fall behind a little more and need to foul to stop the clock, they still have 3 to go before USF's on the line shooting 1-1.
The Bulls led by as many as 18 in the first half. They've been able to hold the Rams at bay so far throughout this second as they continue to whittle away at this deficit. Anthony Crater back into the point guard position as we approach 3 minutes. Gilchrist with the ball for the Bulls. Skip past Poland. Easy baseline drive. Nearly hit his chin on the rim. Jawanza Poland with 8 points. And 3 of them off the throwdown. Saves that one over the end line. Gilchrist got pushed, but still able to get it. And a foul on the reach in. Otherwise, Hugh Robertson has an easy 2.
VCU foul number 21, Jamie Skeen. That's his third of the fifth.
One more look at the baseline drive.
This is all created really by the hard post up by Ron Anderson Jr. Watches the ball rotates, how high he seals his man up the lane, and Jawanza Poland, after feeling he got fouled the last time he drove baseline, wanted to make sure a foul was not going to be the issue on this drive.
Crater across the timeline. 2.5 to play. Bulls by 6. A low-scoring affair, just the way the Bulls like it. Patient possession here. Crater out to Poland. Back to Anthony with 10. Loose ball, he picks it up with 7. Here's Gilchrist. Back to the basket. Gets up a shot. Ron Anderson, a machine on the offensive glass.
I want you to just watch the focus on Ron Anderson Jr.'s face once that shot goes up by Augustus Gilchrist on this offensive rebound.
It's his 8th offensive rebound. He has 12 on the night.
Such a nose, and then watch how those fingers just grip the ball like a vice grip, and he's not letting it go.
Both teams in the bonus now, and Shaka Smart will use one of his 2 remaining timeouts with 2:07 left to go.
One thing Coach Stan Heath talked about it. If his ball club is going to be successful this year, everyone has to accept and buy into their roles. And we've become accustomed to Ron Anderson Jr. accepting his role as being the enforcer in the paint when it comes to attacking the glass.
Something to keep an eye on here down the stretch. Neither team doing particularly well at the free throw line so far this season. USF shooting at 67% coming in. VCU at 64%. So a narrow margin, a game that could very well come down to free throws down the stretch here in the final 2:07. And we'll get you a look at the game reset. USF still with 3 timeouts left. VCU with just 1 remaining. Both teams are in the bonus the rest of the way. And the possession arrow, should we need it, favors the Rams.
Well, the Bulls are no strangers to close contests. They've already had a 74-71 victory over St. Francis this year. You know, they lost a tough one in double overtime to BYU, 75-77, and they beat Texas Tech 64-61. So the Bulls are familiar to being in this situation.
Look at Ed Nixon reach in and knock it off Jawanza Poland off the inbound. So a turnover by the Bulls, that's their 10th. And VCU a chance to cut into this 6-point deficit. Joey Rodriguez lets it roll. Guarded by Crater. Nixon up top to Burgess. His hot hand. Help the Rams rally from the halftime deficit. Here's Rozelle. He can really shoot it. Pulls up from 3. Offensive rebound, Nixon. Back up and in.
Jawanza Poland never turned to find his man to box out on that shot.
Bulls by 4, and they're going to have to use a timeout on the inbound. Stan Heath using one of his 3 remaining timeouts with 1:40 to go.
It's one of the fundamentals of basketball. When the shot goes up, you turn, you find a body. Jawanza Poland, we know you can get up off the floor, young man, but so can a lot of other players in America. And if you don't get a body on somebody on the offensive glass, especially in crunch time like this, you're not going to come up with 95% of the rebounds.
Take a look at what USF has done in close games. We started by talking about the double overtime thriller against BYU. Then obviously Texas Tech, a narrow margin as well. 2-3 overall in games decided by fewer than 8 points, and it certainly looks like we could have another one of those on our hands tonight.
I'm having to pick some coaches across the country who I want to have that board in their hands in these type of situations. Stan Heath is one of those coaches that can draw things up on that board and make sure his team can be successful. But once again, it's up to these young men to execute what's talked about in that huddle.
Bulls perhaps still looking for that consistent go-to guy down the stretch. No more Dominique Jones. It's been a different guy almost every night offensively. We'll see who it is in the final 140. Ron Anderson Jr. has been a consistent force on the boards and in the scoring column. Here he uses his athleticism to help break the press. Poland doubled, finds Crater, 20 to go on the shot clock. Bulls looking for the dagger with 13 to go on the shot. Poland back to Crater between the circles with 7. Puts up a deep 3, off the mark and out of bounds.
Have to get a better shot than that one. Shot clock running down.
So 1:05 to go, and the Bulls clinging to a 4-point lead. Clean up a wet spot there at the Bulls' offensive end, and that'll give Coach Heath a chance to relay a couple messages to Anthony Crater and his defense.
Interesting to see how USF plays the screen and rolls. Handoff screen, which VCU has been running a lot second half.
Barring overtime, this will be by far a season low in the scoring column for the Rams. Just 45 points with a minute to go. Joey Rodriguez over to Rozelle, guarded by Robertson. They go to Skeen in the block. Up top, over Augustus Gilchrist, and the lead cut to 2. Anderson Jr. trapped, finds Crater. Ahead to Robertson, but it's tipped away and stolen by Nixon. A chance to tie or take the lead with a Rodriguez 3. And VCU on top for the first time tonight.
A fingertip away from a 3-point swing. VCU able to come up with the steal, and Rodriguez, who's been ice cold all game, with a 3-point shot of the evening. Instead of a 2-on-1 going the opposite way, Nixon able to get the steal, and the Florida boys connecting on their homecoming to give their team the first lead of the ball game.
Rodriguez, a 47% three-point shooter on the season. He just had that feeling it was only a matter of time before he got it going. And no better time than inside of a minute to go. One more game reset here, 41.6 on the clock. The Bulls have an extra timeout to use on top of the Rams. Both teams in the bonus and the possession arrow, should we need it, in favor of the Rams. And you talked about Stan Heath's ability to draw it up. We'll see what he has in store here.
It'll be interesting to see what VCU does on this possession. Do they continue to press, allow themselves an opportunity to give up an easy layup or going the other direction, or do they fall back and play solid half-court man?
Crater, Anderson Jr., Robertson, Augustus Gilchrist, and Jawanza Poland, the 5 for the Bulls offensively, and Crater will handle the inbounding duties. The Bulls led by as many as 18, and they had never trailed until that 3 by Rodriguez. They use the baseline pass to get it to Anderson. He finds Robertson, poked away from behind, but right to Poland, who finishes, and a free throw coming for Jawanza Poland.
How about Hugh Robertson recognizing he needs to attack the basket, and Jawanza Poland streaking to the rim, the recipient of the hard 3.
Almost have to give the assist there to Brandon Roselle of VCU. He poked it away, but it wound up in the hands of the wrong person. And now a very important free throw for Jawanza Poland, a 75% free throw shooter on the season. Coach Heath said coming into this ball game, he's really coming into his own. He's not afraid of the big shots, the big moments. He'll do some things that make you say, no, 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 no. Oh, good play. And that may have been one of them right there. Cashes in on the free throw, and the Bulls are back on the high side, 52-50. Mike Burwell in defensively for the Bulls.
Well, this is a team all season long that has hung their hat on playing defense. No defensive possession more important than this one right here, right now.
What's your approach if you're the Rams? Shot clock turned off.
Well, I think right now, if I'm the Rams, I'm going for the last shot. You have some unbelievable shooters on your ball club. You have Skeen, who's been able to pretty much do whatever he wants to in the post. USF has to keep their men in front of them, and they have to box out.
Bulls dropping that half-court man-to-man defense. 25 for Rodriguez between the circles. Burgess finds Nixon with 15, crosses over, gets to the rack, and we're tied.
So difficult to guard the screen and roll when you have players who can make shots.
13 seconds for the Bulls, a chance for the final shot in the win. Crater to the corner. Burwell back to Anthony Crater. Off iron, 2 seconds with the rebound. VCU, a heave at the buzzer. It'll count if it goes. It's off the mark, and we're going to overtime. For the second time in the last 3 games, USF cannot decide the game in 40 minutes. We've got extra time.
Anthony Crater couldn't have had a better look, wide open on the corner, just unable to get the jump shot to fall.
First look at the play that tied it.
Talk about how you want to guard this screen and roll. Do you switch? Do you hard hedge? Do you go underneath? Hard hedge here by Ron Anderson Jr. and Nixon just a crossover in the finish. And Hugh Robertson cannot help because you're not giving up a 3 in that situation. A 2 is only going to tie the ball game. And how about Nixon coming up with 2 huge plays down the stretch for VCU?
And while we have a moment, how about our CGM Services player of the game? And it's Jawanza Poland tonight, not only for the high-flying heroics, but for the clutch 3-point play down the stretch.
Well, you wonder if Jawanza Poland was going to make it happen when we needed it, and we saw the high-flying dunks. But no bucket more important than the 3-point play opportunity that put the Bulls up by 2.
11 points for Jawanza Poland on 5 of 14 shooting. He is our CGM Services player of the game. And good as we head to the 5-minute overtime here. No foul trouble to speak of on either side. Ron Anderson Jr. has the 3, and he fouled out in the last overtime contest against BYU in Texas over the weekend, but playing with 2 fouls going into overtime, about all you can ask for from your big man there.
No, he'll be fine. I think right now what's going to be important to watch is VCU going to continue to have the hot hand shooting from the outside, and will USF be able to continue to handle the pressure.
Just to recap, the Bulls' largest lead was 18, back with 6:47 to go in the first half. VCU has rallied to force overtime in a low-scoring affair, and Coach Shaka Smart told us before the game, if it's in the 50s and the 60s, that favors USF. Well, the Bulls nearly took it in regulation. They'll have to play 5 more solid minutes to earn their 5th victory of the season.
Again, this is a situation the Bulls are accustomed to being in. So I don't expect this to be a pressure moment that by any means makes them feel uncomfortable.
Edged at the wire by Jimmer Fredette and BYU. Just last week, VCU, it's their first overtime game of the season.
So we have overtime against Miami on Saturday. We had overtime on Friday against BYU. And we're right back here again on Wednesday.
Yeah, the Bulls football program is undefeated in overtime. The basketball program has not had quite as much success. But we'll see if they can tap into a little of the Skip Holtz magic. 2 timeouts now for each team. Both programs in the bonus as we get underway in the second half, and Ron Anderson Jr. absolutely stole that tip-off.
It's not a rebound, but it should count as one on the stat sheet.
He has a dozen of those. And the Bulls get the first possession. Prater left open, left wing. He'll opt for Poland. Into the post, Anderson, a great catch, an even better finish, and a free throw on the way.
I bet you if he was not a basketball player, he would be one heck of a postman, because rain, sleet, or snow, he delivers.
How about the hands on the catch, too, in the post? That was not an easy assist.
And most people just would have flicked that up with the left hand, but the concentration by Ron Anderson Jr. to get his shoulders squared to the basket for the easy kiss off the glass.
Anderson, the best free throw shooter on the Bulls roster. Can't get the home roll, and VCU collects. So just a 2-point lead for the Bulls, and now they defend. Skeen trying to get it to Rodriguez. Look at the defense by Prater. He takes it away. Can he win the race to the rack? He does! The Bulls have the first 4 points of overtime.
Anthony Prater making such a big statement right now. I'm pretty sure he's disappointed he didn't knock down that jump shot to end regulation, so he's going to make sure he makes up for it in overtime.
1 minute gone, 4 to go. Skeen double teamed in the post and passes it back. Roselle working on Robertson with 15 on the shot clock. Driving right, puts up the shot, will have 2 free throws.
Hugh Robertson is such a solid defender, but on that play, he really needs to pick a spot in front of Roselle. Beat him to that spot so he can reestablish position. Tough call that time.
Roselle, the 6th man for these VCU Rams, leads the team in scoring at 16 points per game. 6 of 8 free throw shooting coming in.
Not very often you score as many points per game as he does, at almost 17 points a game with only 8 free throw attempts in 5 games.
Made his first free throw opportunity tonight. And a second on the way. Got them both. Now the Rams set up that full court press. Anderson to Poland. He is not double teamed. Has 5 seconds to get it across the timeline. Prater will do just that. Bulls with the 2-point lead in the basketball. Poland with 13, takes a screen from Anderson and picks up his dribble. Now Prater with 8. With 4. Poland's going to have to put it up. A high arching shot, catches iron, and that's all Ron Anderson needs for another offensive rebound. Where would they be without Ron Anderson Jr.?
The position of this young man, he just finds a way to get his body in the perfect place at the right time to corral in offensive rebounds.
9 offensive rebounds on the game, 13 total tonight. And I'll say it one more time, he is the Bulls' best free throw shooter.
You would have missed that. I would have told him to stop saying that.
I had confidence in him. Some percentages never lie. Two-possession game, and Anderson is in double figures.
So many players stepping up for the Bulls this evening.
3 minutes to go. The lead is 4 for USF, looking for win number 5 on the season. Nixon off his foot and over to the Bulls.
All caused by the hard hedge of Augustus Gilchrist.
Well, VCU came in +6 in turnover margin. USF -6 on their per game average, but so far we've been almost dead even. 11 turnovers by USF, 10 by VCU. transition opportunity and a finger roll. Hugh Robertson.
Hugh Robertson so dangerous in the open court, and he shows you why. Inside out twice on Skeen. Hard to defend when you're on roller skates, young man.
Shaka Smart hanging on to his timeout, so let VCU play with 2.5 to go. They trail by 6. Rozelle makes it 4. Again, a good pass ahead. Robertson this time will back it out, and the Bulls will run some clock. Rader checked by Rodriguez. Over to Ron Anderson Jr. With 20 on the shot clock, here's Gilchrist. 2 minutes to play. USF by 4 in overtime. Crater poked away, but it winds up in the hands of Robertson. Now Poland will go. 7 on the shot clock. Robertson off the bounce. VCU the rebound, it's Rodriguez. Nixon to the free throw line and takes a step, but not before Poland takes it away. The 11th turnover by the Rams. 8 steals for the Bulls.
And Nixon with 2 huge plays to put his team ahead, and just 2 costly turnovers at the end of this game.
Augustus Gilchrist spins and fires. But first he's called for the offensive foul.
First pivot here, and I mean, it's kind of one of those things where Nixon slid right into that elbow.
Timeout on the floor, as that's the 4th on Augustus Gilchrist. We have 1:13 remaining, and the Bulls on top 60-56. USF has done well defensively to hold VCU to just 56 points, and they'll have to get at least one more stop at the defensive end. They have not been able to get the dagger, but still clinging to this 4-point lead.
Well, this VCU ball club is not going to go away. I mean, they just have so many dangerous scores on the offensive end. You know, even though Nixon has made 2 costly turnovers on the other end, USF has not been able to capitalize to stretch this lead out any further.
Now, there is a new added emphasis in college basketball this year on offensive players swinging the elbows, and the officials tonight are overlooking at the monitor to see if an intentional foul can or should be charged to Augustus Gilchrist on that last play. A good chance to look at both the replay and the officials overlooking at our replay monitor.
Well, I don't play NFL football, but this is similar to kind of like what's going on with the concussions in football. And if you ask me, that's the way you teach every post player how to turn and face up the basket. He never swung the elbows. The ball stayed underneath his chin.
I think part of the play was he was losing his balance as well as he spun to make that shot attempt. See Torlin Fitzpatrick checking into the ball game. We'll let you know who he replaces in the Bulls lineup in just a moment. We're still awaiting final word from the officiating crew. Again, our officials tonight, Les Jones, Sean Corbin, and Tim Clardy. And here we'll give you a chance to make your own decision at home. The replay of that last possession and Augustus Gilchrist going up for the shot.
Talked about him losing his balance. Skeen bodies him up and then releases.
I don't see anything extra that needs to be done there. I mean, that was clearly in the course of making a shot attempt. But it certainly disrupts the rhythm of overtime here, and one that the USF Bulls have controlled. We are tied at 52 after 40 minutes of play. The Bulls scored the first 4 points of the extra 5 minutes, but VCU hanging tough, and will have possession trailing by 4.
And I believe they're going to give him 2 free throws, and this is just absurd. Absolutely absurd.
Does indeed look like that will be the case. It was the 10th team foul on the Bulls, but with the player control, it would not normally be free throws, and we'll get the explanation.
Went to the monitor. We got an intentional foul. 2
official this evening, Sean Corbin, over to our table to explain that they will assess an intentional foul on Augustus Gilchrist, meaning 2 free throws for Skeen and VCU. He misses the first, and then the Rams will also get possession, and Stan Heath thoroughly upset.
If we were on the playground, the ball never lies. That's what we say.
Skeen gets 1 out of 2, and that makes it a 1-possession ball game. And Stan Heath demanding an explanation.
I'm still trying to understand how they're saying that's intentional.
What they're saying essentially, I think, based on that video precedent, is any elbow contact to the face is going to be treated as an intentional. I'm not sure how that could be any less intentional by Augustus Gilchrist, but nonetheless.
I'm teaching my defenders to stick your face in front of every elbow if that's the case.
1 minute to go, and it completely changes this possession for VCU. Now a 3-point game. They can tie it up. Bulls defending that 3-point line well. Inside a minute to go. Rodriguez checked by Crater. Here's Burgess driving on Fitzpatrick. No whistle there. Offensive rebound VCU, and Skeen back up with it and going back to the free throw line.
Inability to squeeze a rebound. Torlin Fitzpatrick has to find a way to squeeze that ball. Solid defense here. Ron Anderson with the block, and Torlin just has to find a way to squeeze that basketball.
Augustus Gilchrist at the scores table, set to check back in. Skeen just went 1 for 2 on the intentional foul. He's 3 for 4 from the stripe this evening. 2-point game. Torlin Fitzpatrick sits for Stan Heath. Gilchrist and Anderson Jr. both playing with 4 fouls for the Bulls. Skeen got them both. Anderson catches the inbound pass. He wants Crater to clear out. He'll take it himself. Here comes the double team as he clears the timeline. Saw the defender come in and gets it back to Crater. Anderson Jr. doing it all for the Bulls. 10 seconds separate the game clock and the shot clock as Stan Heath will use one of his 2 timeouts.
30-second timeout.
18 seconds left here. I am surprised if Stan Heath is not drawing something up that involves some big small action, maybe with Augustus Gilchrist flashing to the high post and Ron Anderson sealing on the block.
Both teams now in the double bonus, so they'll go to the free throw line to shoot a pair in either direction. And you complimented Stan Heath on his work with that grease board a couple of times already in this game. No bigger possession than this one coming right now. Who gets your first touch?
Well, I think right now Anthony Crater has to get your first touch because he's going to be the person that gets you into the offense. But I'll be surprised if we don't see some type of action, maybe with some screening on the ball. But again, you have to try to find Ron Anderson on the block, or I'm comfortable with Augustus Gilchrist catching the ball at 15 feet for an opportunity for a jump shot with both Hugh Robertson and Jawanza Poland attacking the offensive glass if need be.
And with 10 seconds separating the game clock and the shot clock, how much of the shot clock do you want the Bulls to use in this possession?
Every ounce.
So USF by 1 with the basketball. It'll be Hugh Robertson inbound. He's joined by Crater, Anderson, Jawanza Poland, and Augustus Gilchrist. 12 on the shot clock for Crater. Again, 10 seconds separate the game and the shot. Poland with 6. The on-ball screen to the top. Crosses over with 3. Has to put it up. Shot clock violation. So with 9.5 to go, VCU has the basketball down by 1.
Zell here with excellent defense. Jawanza Poland staying down, but to me that has to be a call one way or the other, either offensive foul or a foul for sitting on the hip.
9.5 seconds on the clock as we see Shaka Smart, one of the rising young coaches, drawing up his offense, and take us inside the opposing huddle now. Where are you if you're the Rams?
Well, I think right now you have one of the best creators in college basketball right now, and Joey Rodriguez. The ball's definitely going to get it in his hands. Right now, if I'm Stan Heath, I'm telling my ball club we're not going to let Joey Rodriguez touch the basketball. We may double him on the inbounds play. On the other end, they've been running this screen and roll successfully the entire game, so I don't expect to see anything different on this end, either with Burris or Rodriguez coming off of the screen and roll. They'll create something, try to make it happen.
Any shot on the floor, fair game for the Rams. They won't hesitate to take a three if it's their best look.
If a three is wide open, they will take it because they knock it down to such a high percentage. But right now, I believe you'll see them trying to attack the rim. It'll be interesting to see how the officials call the last 9.5 seconds as well.
A reminder on the game reset, the Bulls do have one timeout left. They do not have a foul to give, though. Both teams in the double bonus, so you can't reach in at the half court. You can't force them inbound to the second time. These 9.5 seconds will be played through.
Well, this is another thing, too. On the baseline, they cannot run because it was a shot clock violation. So
correct.
If USF decides to deny the inbound ball and they can force a 5-second count because VCU has no timeouts, that's another situation.
Stan Heath delivering his final marching orders with 9.5 seconds to go, and his USF Bulls in front by 1. Looking to improve to 5-3 on the year, perhaps notch their biggest resume win. VCU at 4-1 on the season. Stan Heath put it, they may not be the team that shows up on SportsCenter. They're getting votes in the AP poll, but they're not a ranked team. But nonetheless, these are the kind of programs you want to avoid, and you certainly would like to be at this stage of the season. It'll be Bradford Burgess to inbound. Skeen and Rodriguez in the backcourt with them. Rodriguez, the point guard, gets the touch with 8. Now Burgess, guarded by Ron Anderson. He'll go to the rim. Off the glass, in and out. Loose ball. And the clock expires. The Rams grab the rebound but cannot get a shot up. And the Bulls hang on to win it, 60-59.
VCU couldn't have asked for a better attempt at a shot. Burgess with a shot from point-blank range, but Ron Anderson Jr. again coming up huge. Getting a hand on the shot and making it impossible for a clear view.
I'll tell you what, Anderson on the boards, Anderson at the free throw line. Anderson breaking the press and a little defense on the final possession. That final shot rimmed out, but it would not have counted, as the red light was on and the referees waved it off. Your final thoughts on a 1-point win in overtime?
All again, it's about Mr. Anderson as he comes through big for the Bulls in overtime. Great win for Stan Heath's ball club and the USF Bulls.
They will next travel to Florida Atlantic, that on December 4th. With a 5-3 record, VCU falls to 4-2. Thanks for being with us this evening from Tampa. Again, your final score, USF 60, VCU 59. For our producer, Chris McCauley, our director, Bob Herman, my partner, Andrew Frazier, the former USF Bull. This is JB Long saying good night for Tampa. The Bulls come out on top by 1 in overtime.